Hello.
Hello, Danny. How are you doing tonight?
Doing pretty good.
Uh, uh, it's been a very rough day for me.
Mm,
I am not proud to admit this, but I failed my learner's permit test,
mm,
and I did not take kindly to it.
oof.
Yeah, it was very, very, very rough. Thankfully, my partner was there to kind of help with some of that. We ended up getting Chinese afterwards, but I've already rescheduled and looked up what I fucked up on, so that's good at least.
Yeah.
But it means that I have to go back into the fucking NBA and get that shit fixed. But enough about me. How was your week? Did anything good, special happen?
One of the things we're gonna talk about in a little bit.
All right. So there's a couple of topics that I know that. Well, I need to swap the screen here. Boom, there we go. So I know that there's a couple topics that we need to talk about. There's the Destiny news. There's the World of Tank console news. Is there anything other than those two pieces of news that you have?
And that's all that I've got today.
All right. Excuse me. Then you know what? Let's go ahead, and I think we should start off with the lighter of the two. Let's go ahead and talk about the World of Tanks console news first, because I have a feeling that we're going to be spending a lot less time on that.
Yeah.
Cause wow. There's some good shit. There's some very good shit that we got. I mean, this week alone is insane. I mean, just going back through it, we're getting Japanese themed content for Golden Week. The Golden Week wheel has been returned. For those of you that don't remember, the Golden Week wheel is you spin it, you get a random reward. If you log in through World of Tanks console online on your computer, you can literally sync it up to your account on Xbox or PlayStation, and you literally just get random shit from like credits to consumables and shit. So it's just free shit. Spin it every day. You're good to go. The two big things is, number one, the Japanese tank destroyers get released this coming week. That's pretty fucking massive, because they're going to be from tier 3 to tier 10, which means you can start the line right off the rip. You don't have to go through the other tank, the heavy line, which is really interesting. And then the one that I think is the most bussin' of all the news is, for the first time since they initially released it, World of Tanks console is bringing back the Girls und Panzer tank.
It has been about 6 or 7 years since this tank's been
Yeah.
available.
Yeah, and not just that. They're bringing back a whole slew of shit. Like, they brought back a community event for it. Because not only can you not just earn the tank, you can literally just play games and earn the tank. They also give you so much free shit for playing. They have pinup arts of all of the major girls from the TV show, from the anime. They have all of the different schools that participate in the tournaments that are in there. And then the community event gives you a bunch of free shit. And it's like, holy fuck. And the best part is the fact that you don't have to buy the tank.
Yeah, you can actually earn it.
You can earn it. A tank that is trademarked, by the way. Trademarked.
The only reason it hasn't been available is because Sony has held the licensing for it.
Yeah, like, it is insane. Like, how I have to give props where props is due, Danny. We have shit on and rinsed World of Tanks console for as long as you and I have been players. For the better part of, what, 5-6 years now.
Yeah, because like,
and you for longer, because I just came back in the middle of college, and then I didn't start playing until hardcore playing until 2018 when I got out.
yeah, I give them a really hard time because over the past year they've released more premium tanks than they have tech tree tanks.
It's fucking ridiculous. I mean, and in all fairness though, and this is something that I do have to defend slightly about them, is they follow a lot in the pathway of PC. The problem is that PC has its own separate issues, but they're relatively decent about releasing tech trees and premiums and trying to find the correct balance, at least I would say. Now, as someone who does play PC, please correct me if I'm wrong there.
They have done something that I do not console a lot for. They did actually put some time away to make sure that the core of the game functions, which I think console really still badly needs instead of premiums.
Yeah.
Was
When also the failure that is fucking... I don't care what anybody says. I think Cold War is a fucking mistake.
Cold War should have just been its own game. I hold to that. It should, if they wanted to make that, that's what they should have done. But the split really hurt the player base.
Yeah.
And they neglected World War II for too long.
They neglected
Because
World
of
War II for straight 2 years. 2 straight years. The season passes rewarded already made premium tanks that we had already had in the game. Now, granted, the tier 8 premium tanks that they released were part of the free part of the pass.
Yep.
So if you didn't even buy the season pass, but you completed it, you still got the tier 8 premium tank, which is good. The problem is Cold War killed World War II, so the only people actively playing World War II are all playing tier 10s.
Yep, and especially when most of the season passes, specifically if the Ultimate Season Passes, give away a relatively strong top-tier premium for basically, like, no effort whatsoever. It kinda ruined matchmaking.
Yeah, I mean, and then the release of premiums overall as a whole. I mean, the debacle of the AVRE, the debacle of the Tehran, right? The Ruthless, yeah. And it just, it ruined matchmaking. Like, to this day, I still hate seeing an AVRE because no matter what tank I play, it's always going to win in a 1v1 if both of us are at fresh HP just because of the state of that tank. Like, all 3 of those tanks that we've named are not balanced. And that's a problem because Wargaming refuses to balance premiums. The only reason why they ever balanced the Armadillo is because it was so often played at such a high win rate. That is the only reason why. The problem is that they don't look at the bigger picture of it.
Yep. It's just a big issue because the reason why it isn't as much of an issue on PC is because, like, those high alpha tanks are not as prevalent. A lot of them got hit in the alpha nerf. And armor actually kind of works, which plays into it as well. There's a lot of heavily armored stuff on PC.
Yeah, which is fine. Like, if you're running a Type 5, you should be bouncing most 75 90mm shots.
Yeah.
Like,
And
there's
that-
no reason they should be able to pen you unless they have, unless, they are dead set on you throwing premium.
Yeah, like,
No reason
they
otherwise.
They even went back, like, recently. They nerfed some of the tanks and made their weak spots again. Like, they do constantly go back and forth and balance different things, and they've added new things, like the Polish tank destroyers are brand new on PC, and they have
I would love to
very
get those on
interesting
console.
mechanic. I really like their mechanic.
What is it?
The star-shaped rounds. The tier 10 has an 85mm gun.
What the fuck?
It does like 900 damage within like 50 meters.
Why?
But it does like 200 past that, like 500.
What the
they
fuck?
do less damage the further away from a target they are, but they do more damage the closer they are.
How does it... So what, it's basically like a shotgun barrel?
Kind of. They work kind of like that. They're DPM monsters up close. They want you to brawl with them.
Do they at least have the fucking armor to deal with it?
Yes, they have adequate armor.
Thank God, because the rest of the fucking Polish line... Like, I'm sorry, and I will continue to bitch about this, and I know that people will fucking hate me for it, but the 60 TP is not in a good state.
It's not.
The only reason the 60 TP is even playable on console is because the only people that play it are the players that have put the time into it. And I mean not just like, oh, I'll play 10, 20 games. No, I have hundreds of games on the 60 TP with a positive win rate in KD. The tank is not good. It's not good.
And this is the best part of it. PC, it's one of the strongest tier 10 heavy tanks in the game. Because they actually made its armor functional.
Yeah, but it's crazy. Like, you put it up against any... Because the biggest problem I think that console has is they don't know where to place the 60 TP. Because it's not a super heavy, but it's not a brawler heavy. Like, it doesn't have the alpha of the E100, the mouse, the Type 5, the 705A. But it doesn't have the firing capability of shit like the Super Conqueror, right?
Yep.
So it sits in this really awkward place where it's got a really decent alpha. It's got a good alpha.
It can overmatch.
Yeah, and again, you should never be running the AP rounds anyways. They're fucking useless. Just run HE or Heat. I have 2 AP rounds, and the only reason I run those AP rounds is to hit light tanks, because they're the only rounds that actually travel at a decent fucking velocity. They are the only rounds that tank fires that go over like 900 meters a second.
It is the one like major downfall of like the console equivalent. The PC one actually got some pretty decent love for its gun. It got its rate of fire buffed up to be competitive with the E100. It actually like penetration works fairly well. It's just the difference is night and day for how they balance the game.
Yeah, and I've said it once and I'll say it again. Watt Console is doing their hardest to make the game as much of a money grab as possible. And we've said it for years that the game is going to die. But the problem is that there are too many fucking morons that keep buying everything that Watt Console produces. Which, again, how do y'all have enough money for that? To pay for not one, but 2 fucking studios. You have one in the US here in Baltimore, and then you have one in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
And technically they have one in Belarus, I think, or somewhere nearby. Somewhere in the eastern area. Right? Eastern European area. The point that I'm trying to make is that there are so few players for Watt Console, and people claim, oh, there's more players joining every day. There's more players joining every day. Have you seen the fucking queue times?
Half of the numbers that are actually in the queue are bots.
Yeah, which is ridiculous. Like, first of all, why are there bots in queue? That makes zero fucking sense. That should not be a thing. Like, stop lying to us, Wargaming. Like, 90% of my games are bots.
Yeah, like, specifically, like, at the lower tiers, and, like, the Era 1 in Cold War, you notice it a lot. Like, their pride and joy Cold War, Era 1, so many games will have bots. And you can tell that they are bots, because of the names.
Yeah, it's real easy. It's real easy to know that they're bots. Like, the other thing is that, like, there's a real easy way to tell if they're bots. Number one, you'll notice that they don't have a crossplay screen. And this is more prevalent on PlayStation than it is Xbox, because here in the US, Xbox does reign supreme for console, right? So, as a PlayStation player, my normal screen for the longest time was nothing but little TV screens that showed that it was somebody on the other console. So, most of my lobbies were filled with TV screens because it was mostly Xbox players. Nowadays, I may get a couple of screens. But if you see a long list of no TV screens when you're PlayStation, the majority of those are bots, because I can guarantee you most of those people, most of those players in the game, they're not actual players, right? And that could equate to any number of things. And it's like, oh, but they could be real players. No, they're not. They literally run out into the middle of the field and start firing shots.
Yep.
Like, they don't interact like any players do. Now, granted, Wargaming does have to go based off of, because the bots go based off of previously generated data from thousands and thousands and thousands of fucking games from years past of the most typical spots that players go to and whatnot. However, you will never see tanks going to unique spots. A great example, for those of you World of Tanks console players, Prokhorovka is a great example. You will never see a stealth tank destroyer go into A0, the A0 corner hill spot. You will never see a tank destroyer go into that spot, ever. That's a great way to tell that player, like, if you see, for example, right, you see a Stark 103B or a Stritz 103B go to that spot, that's a real fucking player. No bot goes into that spot, ever. The bots in Watt console are designed to head empty Unga Bunga. That is it. And it's crazy because they have data for thousands of games. So it makes me wonder, is their data just trash? Or was the player base also just trash?
There's so many layers to it.
There's so many fucking layers, and it's impossible. And the problem is that the game won't die, so Wargaming won't learn their fucking mistake of ruining the game. And it's just a money grab, cash grab as much as they can before inevitably it will die. At some point it will die. Now, and we have rinsed Wargaming before. However, we do need to bring up the positives that they have done in the past leading up to this Gorloon Panzer event. Number one, they have done their best to fix the ginormous fucking mistake that was Update 6.0. That killed half the player base. Half the player base fucking left. Literally fucking left. And never came back.
Never recovered.
And it never recovered. We dropped the player base for Watt console dropped by over 50% from the initial.
The biggest hit from 6.0 was the quality of games.
Oh, it dropped dramatically.
It was that a lot of the quality players left.
Yeah, because all the good players were like, we're done. We're going to go play fucking PC, or we're going to go play another other fucking game.
Because, like, around the time 6.0 dropped, PC was dropping, like, more and more clan support, and people were like, hey, you've been ignoring us for, like, 4 years now. We're going on to PC because they're actually giving us some support.
Yeah, and there's still community competitive battles to this day. Like, if you take a look at Watt Console's comp scene, it's kind of dead. Like, no offense to because I know a lot, as someone who shoutcasted a lot of the matches, right, back when the comp scene was still going relatively strong, I don't see nearly the amount of teams or players that I used to. Like, I take a look and I'm like, I could pretty much 1v1 every single one of you, and I might as well be a blueberry. Like, yeah, I've got decent stats, but I'm not a 4K WNA player. But I could rinse most of these comp players instantly. And I'm like, y'all, and no offense to them, like, they're still playing comp and enjoying the game. And I get that, and I understand that, and I'm happy for them. but the comp scene is not as good as it used to be, and it just shows.
No.
It
Like,
shows.
I remember running around playing, like, back in, like, before pre 6.0, like, even way back a little further than that. I remember running around in a platoon with people where I was easily, like, almost 2k WN8 below the next highest WN8 person in the team. Those platoons, because 5-mans are still a thing then, you would run into another 5-man platoon of the same kind of players. It would just be those two platoons doing all the killing that entire game. Nobody else is basically going to be allowed to play. People were that fucking good.
I miss
Now-
those days.
Yeah. That was some of the most fun I've ever had playing tanks, because, like, you learned a whole lot playing with those guys.
I think there's two particular times that I think WoT console was at its best. Number one was when I first came back and I joined Remix. And I was introduced to my clan leader Slacks and his group of goons, and they introduced me to a 5-man platoon of vanguards. And I remember one of the first premiums I ever received, and shout out to my man Lil Feller. Lil Feller gifted me a Vanguard and said, "Here you go, bud, welcome to Remix, because there's 2 tanks you own as a Remix player. You own a Vanguard, and you own a PZ-1C.
Because they're just fun tanks. They're just fun tanks.
And you would run around as a 5-man squad of Vanguards. Was it balanced? No. But was it fun as fuck? Abso-fucking-lutely. And again, before I move on to the second point, 5-man platoons was removed for the wrong reasons, and it could have easily been fixed.
Yeah.
Like, they fixed, and here's the dumb part, right? Because if you really look and think about it, they absolutely did exactly what I said when RD 2.0 happened.
Mm-hmm.
Because you'll notice, so when RD 2.0 happened, they had already had 3-man platoons. But when RD 2.0 first dropped, you could still 3-man platoon as RDs. All 3 players. They literally put it into the game as a code that states if one player picks an RD, nobody else can pick an RD. And guess what? It worked. Less players fucking picked RD. And you stopped seeing 3-man RDs on the enemy team focusing down a Type 5 every single game. You now, most of the time, you only see 1 to 2 RDs, if that. Very rarely do you ever see 3 RDs. And it worked, and it helped balance the game. Now, did RD 2.0 absolutely ruin RDs? Absolutely. I still think they're busted as fuck. Please nerf them, Wargaming. But I have said in the past that 5-man platoons were not OP because it was 5 players. It was OP because of what you allowed those 5 players to do. If you allowed 5 players to run fully kitted, fully crewed Super Conquerors, then yeah, the game's not gonna go great for you.
Oh, I was involved in something so much worse.
Well, I mean, the 5-man Vanguards is another example.
5 bat chats fully kitted out.
Oh, yeah.
You're not playing the game.
No, you literally get clipped out. You just don't get to play. Like, you literally get ran over. Like,
That
2
game's
people
over
would
in
go
2
in,
minutes.
you would clip out, run away, and then the next 2 would go in. And it was just rinse and repeat. Like,
Yeah.
if they had just... And here's the thing, is that they did it to Artie. Why can't they do it now? Like,
What they do to tank destroyers.
yeah, because you can run 3 fucking tank destroyers in a fucking 3-man platoon. And I'm like, that's fucking ridiculous. Like, you want to promote healthy game balance? Take a look how many fucking light tanks you see in a game. In a tier 10 game. None. Why? Because light tanks basically don't fucking exist anymore. Because guess what? They have fucked Vision so hard because medium tanks can do everything light tanks can, but better.
Not to mention half of the bushes don't even count as camo anymore.
Yeah. And with so many tanks firing higher velocity and higher velocity rounds, light tanks are dead. There is no such thing as running and gunning anymore. Running and gunning is dead. If you play a light tank, you sit in a bush and you're stuck there for the entirety of the game. Oh, and by the way, guess what? Chances are, there's still a tank that can cut through your camo.
Yeah, Tehran can still probably outspot you.
Yeah, which is, by the way, absolutely fucking ridiculous. The whole point of a light tank is for spotting and assistance. They've removed the need for a light tank because guess what? Just play a fucking medium tank. You have better gun. You have pretty much, for the most part, better mobility. You have more HP. And you have armor to go with the HP!
Yep.
Like, it's the reason why I swapped from playing light tanks. I love playing light tanks. I feel fucking useless nowadays. Also because my green beans never want to shoot the fucking targets I light up.
Oh yeah, no, that's the worst part. Is it just they don't shoot. They don't shoot the stuff that's spotted in the open.
And it's like, bro, if you're in Prokhorovka and a light tank lights someone up and they are on the ridge, and you don't get any assisted damage, just go back to the garage. There's no worth playing that game. You might as well just not play the game at that point.
Yeah, people literally turning down free damage, like.
Yeah,
why?
Well, and what kills me is the other reason why they killed 5-man platoons, Danny, was the crossplay update. And this may be a little bit more of a hot take, but the ability for crossplay was the most hype, and I mean the most hype we ever had. I mean, Valor update was massive. I mean, big dick swinging, having a ball. We were getting tank balancing. We were getting crossplay. We were getting brand new tanks, both tech tree and premium. We were getting all kinds of good shit. We were getting banger season passes. Absolute banger season passes. The Valor update and the crossplay update were that 4-month span was the most fun I had ever had. I still play with some of the dudes that I first started playing with during that update. Because I remember, Danny, when you were like, I want to play on my Xbox account instead of my bullshit PlayStation account.
Yeah, where I actually had tanks.
Yeah, and that was dope. I got to meet Buddha for the first time. Which to some people may seem like a mistake. Buddha's still a longtime friend of mine, and I will forever love that. I mean, it was such a great time to be a World of Tanks console player. We finally got crossplay after so long. We got tank balancing. We got a fuck ton of maps. Like, we got a fuck ton of maps put back in rotation. And we still had 5-man platoons. And then the update after that was probably the weirdest but also kind of cool update. The WWE update.
It's still like, I get it to an extent, but then again, out of all of the tie-ins that they had for it, the last one, one of the last ones that they did actually involved wrestler with a fucking tank.
Yeah. Well, and then we got the kind of garbage Hot Wheels update, which again, they could have made a race, and I'll still bitch about this to this day. They could have made a racing event. Like, you literally made
you had
this,
one running the same time.
You literally
was going on.
Yeah, like you literally had the spas. You released 4 different versions of the spas. Just make a racing track on like Prokhorovka or Al Haluf or some shit. It's really not that difficult. Like,
they could have even ripped PCs.
Yeah, you could have ripped PCs.
On port.
Like, not that difficult as a coding. Like, if you can't code, if you can't rip something that's already made and just implement it on the console, which, by the way, has a way fucking simpler concept to it, my brother's in Christ. Like, that's fucking ridiculous. And then we got hit with the garbage that was Update 6.0, and we've basically been trying to recover ever since.
6.0, and then, like, it took, I'd almost say, like, a year before they dropped anything else that was, like, remotely positive, because it took so long to even get the colorblind filter back in.
For those of you that remembered when I streamed, I stopped streaming tanks until they put the colorblind filter back in. I literally stopped. I was like, first of all, this is fucking ableism. Like, you literally took the colorblind filter out. I know so many players that used the colorblind filter because it was much easier to see, or the fact that they were colorblind. And I'm like, I will not stand for this. Put the fucking colorblind filter back. And I was gone from the game for fucking 6 months. 6 months. Because they dropped
6.0.
They dropped 6.0 in what, December?
Yeah, like December, early January, something like that, I think.
Yeah, like late December, early January. I didn't come back until June because of it.
The thing that killed me the most, though, was the UI that they swapped to.
Oh god, that UI was garbage.
Bright light blue, and it was so harsh to actually look at.
Well, and then all the fucking night maps were all dark as shit. Like, you couldn't see anything on Prokhorovka.
And then anytime that they have, like, a graphical update, which when they say graphical update to maps, it usually just means they put a bunch of useless particle effects and stuff on it, and maybe a few more bushes that don't count as anything. It makes the game run so off, like...
Yeah, unless you're on a new gen, it's also to promote buying a new gen console, because being on a PS4 Pro, bruh,
I'm on an OG PS4, playing on Himmels. It drops to like 23 FPS.
It's bad.
So much.
It's so
unoptimized.
Yeah. And I'm like, we've got, and the thing is that we finally are starting to kind of see a small turnaround, right? Like, I think the first major turnaround was because Wargaming realized that they were losing so much money. The first major turnaround that they made was re-releasing the black tanks.
Yep.
Because players had wanted them for so long, and then we finally got them.
And then they re-released, not too long after that, I think they re-released the Ragnarok.
Yeah, the Crimsons. Well, and then after that, I think one of the biggest ones was the Valkyria Chronicles tanks, the Edelweiss and the Nameless.
Yep. Which
they're not game-breaking tanks, but they're fun as fuck.
They used to be like the Edelweiss used to be so strong when it was first added because its side armor you could eat Jaegeru shots easy when it was first added.
Oh, yeah, because it was so fucking awkward. The armor was so awkward on it that you just bounced random shit.
Of spaced armor.
Yeah. Well, but the problem is that in today's meta, it's fucking useless.
Yeah, no, it just gets bodied.
Yeah.
Anytime it shows up, it just gets bodied.
Yeah, in a tier 8 lobby, it's good. But anything above tier 8, you get absolutely fucking rinsed.
Which, with the matchmaker the way it is, good luck getting a same tier match.
Yeah.
Tier 8.
And which brings me back to the Grolzun Panzer update. And I think the only reason why they are bringing it back is because they are losing more and more and more money. However, the interesting thing about it is that you don't have to buy the tank. You can earn it, which is completely different than what we've had previously. All of those other tanks, the black tanks, the crimson tanks, right? The Valkyria Chronicles tanks. You had to buy all the bundles for those, or buy the individual tanks. This is the first... No, not the first tank that you got, not the first trademark tank that you could get for free. that technically belongs to the WWE tanks, because that was the Becky Lynch, I think.
Believe so, because I think that was free in that season pass.
Yep, the Becky Lynch was the free tank in the season pass. The Hot Wheels was one of the spas. You got to choose whichever one you wanted, I think.
Which I still don't like that they just did the same exact tank like 5 times.
Yeah, well, and also they turned a tier 7 into a tier 8, and it didn't... Like, the only good thing about it was that you could swap between an autoloader or a single shot in between matches.
That autoloader was nuts.
The autoloader was nuts. But other than that, again, if you went into a tier 9 lobby, you got fucking rinsed because you had no fucking HP. Because again, you're a tier 7 tank, and you're a tier 7 tank with a tier 8 gun. Like, congratulations, get fucking rinsed. Right?
Yep. I am glad that they are actually doing something like this, because, like, it's almost a month. They give you almost, like, a month of time to do this.
Yeah, and they're based off of... Right, because taking a look at it, you have... In order to get the tank, you need to earn 350 points. And it's really interesting, because you can earn up to 3 points a game. Point number 1 is deal 1,250 or more damage in any number of battles. Destroy one or more vehicle in any number of battles, and survive a battle. That's it. So you can earn 3 points a game, which, in all fairness, really not that difficult. In today's meta, trying to survive, kind of a pain in the ass.
So, I'm already seeing right now there's going to be a lot of people playing at tier 4.
A lot of people playing at tier 4, and a lot of people might actually be going for caps and allowing it.
Yep.
Because here's the thing. If you get your damage in your 1 kill, it's survive a battle. It doesn't mean win or lose. You can just survive.
Yeah, and honestly, like, it's a Panzer IV-H with the 75. It's not a bad tier 5 premium.
Yeah.
It's nothing, like, spectacular, but it's not a bad tank.
Yeah, well, and again, it's a special, unique tank, right?
Yeah.
And we don't get a lot of those that aren't Giga Omega fucking busted. So, seeing a very heavily requested tank come back that you don't have to buy is a massive W. This is probably, honestly, Danny, hot take, this might be the biggest W that we've gotten in World of Tanks console since the WWE update.
Yeah, no, it's the first time we've gotten anything positive since that, and that's been a hot minute. Like,
what was it?
A new tank line, this event.
4 years ago?
Probably.
I was still living with Mama Fox when 6.0 dropped.
Yeah, it's... We'll take this W. It's been a while.
Yeah, but I'm really glad to see it, and I really, really hope if I see any World of Tanks console devs watching this video, please do more shit like this. The player base absolutely loves shit like this. They love this. They love the fact that they're getting something for just playing the game. That's what you want, right?
Yeah, like, I'm gonna sound like a broken record here, but take a look at what Arrowhead's doing with Helldivers. You want to get people playing the game? That's kind of how you get people playing the game.
Yeah, I mean, talk about Helldivers. They literally brought out 2 new campaigns, and based on which one you go to, you get a special weapon.
Yeah, and their stuff does not expire. It's just there all the time.
Exactly. Like, it's crazy. But I do need to give props where props is due. This is a huge event, and I'm very, very excited and hyped for it because we haven't gotten something like this in forever. And
I'm gonna try to get it because missed out on it the first time they sold it.
I was about to say, Danny, you and I are probably going to be playing a lot these next coming weeks. Because I'm also going to be spamming the shit out of it. I'm just trying to think of, like, the best tanks to play, and I'm like, you know, I have an E3. I have an E3 that I very rarely use. This might be the time for me to pull out that E3. Because even if I don't survive, I'm definitely getting 1200 damage, and I'm definitely killing somebody.
Oh yeah.
So, but overall, big W's on the at least big W's in our eyes. Now, before this video goes, I didn't realize that we were going to be going on a tangent for like 35 minutes on this, and that now we're about to go on the other big tangent, which is probably going to be a lot longer.
Yeah, we can focus this one down.
Yeah.
Because there's one really important aspect of this.
Yeah. D2, Destiny 2, not Diablo 2, Destiny 2. And I need to put a trigger warning in here, Danny. To every single player and content creator, if you or a loved one has ever been harmed by Datto's cleaning of your vault, you are entitled to compensation.
Poor Datto has been getting cooked this entire week.
Absolutely cooked! For those of you that have been living under a fucking rock or don't have Twitter, you know what, Danny? I've been talking a lot. I'll let you handle this one.
So, one of the pillars of Destiny 2 content creation, Datto, had a series of cleaning out people's vaults and getting rid of stuff that they don't need because of one particular thing that Bungie implemented called sunsetting. Those of you familiar with sunsetting, I don't need to explain what it is. However, anyone that doesn't, it's intentionally power capping weapons that were deemed a little too strong for the sandbox. But they didn't want to invalidate the pursuit to actually get them, so they power capped them. And that's going away in Final Shape. And within 5 minutes of the TWAB being out, Datto released a tweet saying that vault cleaning season is canceled indefinitely forever.
Oh, I didn't even see that. Hold on.
Within like 5 minutes of the TWAB coming out, Datto literally said that vault cleaning season is canceled forever. So
hold on. I'm looking at this. 455 comments, 983 fucking retweets, 15k likes, and 747,000 views.
Mm-hmm. Everybody knew the minute that this dropped in the TWAB, everybody went to Datto. Because literally everyone that has had their vault cleaned and gotten rid of some of these sunset weapons is now sitting there with their hands, with their head in their hands like, oh my god, what have I done?
However, to the few of us that never cleaned out our vaults, i.e. people like me who log on in a blue moon to go fishing and shit, we still have all of those wonderful fucking sunset weapons that will now be available to fucking use.
And here's the best part, because I do want to dig into this because there's a lot more than just the sunsetting of sunsetting. But I want to touch on the keynotes of it. Primarily this first one. The first thing coming in the final shape is fire team power.
Yes,
that
is
this
big.
Works. So, the final shape is actually going to be the best time for anyone who has been considering playing Destiny with friends, but worried about being behind or having to catch up. You know, final shape, that's basically not going to be a factor at all. Because of fire team power. Whoever has the highest power in the fire team will be considered the power leader. It will purposely drag everyone in the fire team up within 5 power level of the highest power level player. Such a good feature.
Such a banger feature. And I think the other feature that I also really want to talk about before we get back into the sunsetting, because I know that has a lot of implications, because there's a couple other things along with that we need to talk about this most recent TWAB, is account-wide power level.
Yep.
So, for those of you that don't know or didn't see it, if you run 3 characters, right, if you have a Hunter, Warlock, and a Titan, if you level one of them with power, the other 2 will drop items relative to the highest account power level you own. So let's say, for example, what's the power cap right now?
The power cap right now is 1,800.
Is 1,800. So let's say, for example, your Hunter's at 1,800, and your Warlock's at 1,750, and your Titan's at 1,700. Your Warlock and Titan will now start getting gear slightly lower than 1,800, drastically increasing the power level of all 3 of your characters. So, if you've ever thought about dropping in and making a new character, now's your chance. This is massive change. This is a huge change.
Yep. Final Shape is literally bringing in so many good quality of life updates and removing that barrier to entry to just play with friends so much. Like, Into the Light, they just introduced the ability to skip Shahan's tutorial stuff and just go straight into playing with other people.
Thank God. Fuck Shahan.
Yeah, no, Shahan is completely pointless now. So, you're welcome, anyone that wants to try Destiny. You can skip the entire tutorial and be just fine.
Yeah, Shahan a bitch.
He's the worst guardian.
Worst guardian. God, everybody... Yo, all my homies hate Shahan. But yeah, I mean, it's like leading up to Final Shape. It's like, I don't know who on the dev team, like who the leader of the dev team said, "Hey, you know what? What if we all went to the kitchen and just cooked? Like, what if we all chefed something?" And then they just started throwing shit out. And then eventually they just got left with just like 50 fucking dishes of just pure deliciousness. And we're like, all right, that's what we're serving. And that's what we got. Like, in all reality, the past 2 months, Danny, since we've redone this Trials of Casuals podcast, Bungie has been cooking.
They are on fire right now with what they've been putting out. It's so good.
This is the most banger content I think we've ever gotten from Bungie. Like, this is ecstatic. And again, going back to the sunsetting part, not only are they unsunsetting shit, they're bringing back old guns with new perks.
Yep. That is the thing that they said, since they even mentioned it in the removing the power limits from the legacy gear. They said that they regret the fact that they're doing this now when a lot of people have probably already dismantled a whole lot of the sunset things. So they're like, you know what? We're gonna bring most of, if not all of them, back from another source. And give them new stuff for the sandbox.
Yeah, I mean, there's two major eras that I think a lot of people are wanting, right, and that are loving, thinking about it. Number one, Black Armory.
Mm-hmm.
Black Armory produced some of the best, if not the best, weapons we had seen in forever, and even I would also say by today's standards, had some of the best weapons and perks on guns.
We had that sweet kindled orchid with Rampage Kill Clip.
Jesus Christ, that is disgusting. Well, and then it's the, oh god, what was it? What's the other season? Because I know that there's a second one. I'm fucking blanking on it, Danny.
The one that everyone wants back, Season of Dawn.
Yeah.
All of those guns they're just so sweet. Steel Feather Repeater, Breach Light, Perfect Paradox. Line in the Sand. There's so many good guns from that season, and then you've also got like the Cabal things like Trophy Hunter, the Scion sniper rifle, and Pyroclastic Flow, the rocket. Like, there's so many guns that are gonna be usable again, and I'm excited for it because I still have a few old Sunset weapons kicking around in my vault, and also looking at it next week, we got the return of one of them with the new Brave Arsenal origin trait in Luna's Howl.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are excited for that.
Oh, have you heard what they did to Magnificent Howl?
No.
They reworked the perk. So the way that it works now is every time you get a precision kill, it creates one charge for your next reload. Every precision kill adds one charge. Each one of those Magnificent Howl rounds in the next reload does 50% more damage and can extend the duration of Magnificent Howl if you get a kill with them.
So it's just a Rampage on steroids, is what I'm hearing?
It is the highest damage buff, like single damage buff on a weapon. The only caveat to it is you have to get a precision kill to get that round.
Though,
But
in
once
all
you get it
fairness,
going-
I was about to say, in all fairness, isn't Luna's Howl a hand cannon?
Oh yeah, it is a solar hand cannon.
Yeah, and you know what bullshit fallen dredges love to eat? Fucking hand cannon lead, baby.
Yeah, they made Luna's Howl. They literally made Magnificent Howl precision instrument, but a lot easier to use.
Yeah, which I think is brilliant.
It's a good change, and I am very excited to see what they do to the stuff they bring back, because they've been cooking, especially with Hammerhead right now, which
Oh, I know. I still have my Hammerhead. Hammerhead was the one gun because I came in, remember, I came back to D2 at the end of Season of Arrivals, right before Black Armory left. And one of the very few guns that I managed to acquire was a Hammerhead.
So allow me to hit you with something that's probably going to be really tempting.
Okay.
So you remember Breakneck? It's old rule. Rampage Onslaught.
Two of the best damage perks, which, by the way, rolled on different columns.
So, what if I told you that Rampage rolls in the third column for Hammerhead now?
Oh, that's hype.
So you can get the Breakneck roll on Hammerhead now.
Which,
Also,
it'll make it a mob clearer.
Also, even better, it can get Killing Tally in the fourth column. So you can have Rampage Killing Tally.
Oh my god, like it fucking needed it. It was already one of the best machine guns. There's a reason why it got sunset.
It has so many good... It can even have, like, Surrounded. And the best part, in Final Shape, these Brave Armory weapons will be able to enhance their perks.
Oh yeah, because of crafting and shit.
Oh, they're not even craftable. The rolls that you get in this, they're all random rolls, and they will always be random rolls. The Final Shape is just going to introduce a way to enhance perks on random roll weapons.
Oh, that is true.
So, these weapons, the Trials weapons, there are a lot of people hunting really good rolls for them right now, because Final Shape, they're going to be contending real hard with crafted weapons.
Yeah, which, honestly, I think is a great thing.
Yeah, it brings back that pursuit of looking for the role that you want. It gives you a reason to keep going and keep farming.
Yeah, which players have wanted for
class items.
Yeah, because it's like so many people stopped playing because there was just no want or need to get a specific gun. Like, for example, right, Igneous Hammer. I spent that entire season getting 5 different Igneous Hammers, all with super fun, interesting rolls, because I wanted to play around with them.
And when something's craftable, it's like once you get the 5 patterns, that's it. You don't have a reason to go for it anymore.
Yeah, and then you just sit on it and just level it and get everything you want. Which, granted, is cool, but there's no grind.
It wears off real fast once you get it, because it's like you lose that pursuit. Once it's done, it's like, that's it.
Well, yeah, and again, there's also the introduction of the deep side harmonizers, so if you had a bunch sitting in your bank, you could use the deep side harmonizers to further enhance the patterns, and just to basically instantly unlock them, which, in all fairness, I think was great, because there's a lot of fucking guns that I don't want to do that for, i.e., all of the fucking weapons from Dares of Eternity.
I was gonna say Duality.
Oh, Duality also, yes. Oh my god.
The 2 weapons that are craftable from Duality. Don't want to have to farm those.
Duality's still a garbage dungeon.
It's still like
nobody
down
likes it.
there on the totem pole for me.
I think it's the worst dungeon.
Ghost of the Deep is also kind of low on there, but that's just because the last boss is so annoying.
Ooh, okay. I can understand that. Cause see, I actually like Ghost of the Deep. I think aesthetically, it's right up.
Aesthetically, it's great.
Aesthetically and like gameplay wise, for the most part, I put it on par with like Prophecy, because I think that they're very, very interesting in their concepts, and I think that they're super fun, and also their loot tables are also really cool. But I can understand what you mean. The last part of Ghosts is kind of cringe.
The fact that it's a wizard boss that moves around is so awful. Like, the first boss is fine. This is a big knight that gets right up in your face. Like, that's fine. That wizard, though.
Fuck wizards.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what they do. They've been giving us good stuff.
Yeah, I mean they're fucking cooking. They're
got
cooking.
Me locked in for Final Shape finally.
I know. I need to set the the problem is that it's really hard for me to pre-order.
Oh yeah.
When I don't have a job.
Yeah, I scrounged up and got a little help, so I have the annual pass.
Oh my god.
I'm fucking in.
You're in. You're in.
Like, with what they've been showing off, and Prismatic is definitely like a starting point. They just want to see what it does. They're gonna add more to it.
Oh yeah, I think Prismatic is the best culmination. It's kind of a shame that we don't get a third separate dark subclass, but it is cool to see a combination of light and dark, because there's so many different aspects that I would want to combine. Like, I want handheld Nova with the stasis freeze.
I still like that they showed off in the gameplay thing of having I think it was Feed the Void and Bleak Watchers, which is like, seeing the gameplay of it, it's so disgusting, because the Bleak Watchers is triggering Devour, which is giving you more Bleak Watchers, which continues to trigger more Devour.
It's a walking one-man army.
It's just, there's so many turrets.
Which, in all fairness, to fight the Witness, we may need more turrets.
I want Prismatic to go through some of the old content, too. I want to see, like, what that does.
Oh, we would have... I have a feeling that we would obliterate old content with it.
Yeah, I want to see things like, how easy is this going to be to solo after the fact?
Ooh, actually, hear me out, Danny.
Yeah.
I want to see how Prismatic does against our matey.
Oh, it's gonna bully that.
Fuck that Shank, man. Fuck that piece of shit Shank. Like, the rest of the boss fight is fine. It's just the fucking Shank.
Yep.
It's just the Shank that's a massive pain in the ass. Because he always hits you, because he always fucking crits you in the head. Always.
Yep.
Oh my god. No, it's Bungie dev team. Whatever they are cooking, let them chef it. Let them keep chefing it. Good God, they are just giving us fucking meal after meal after meal.
Yep. They are like 100%. They're locked in right now.
Yeah. I am curious though, because I did see a tweet, and we'll end on this. Is I did see a tweet from someone that I thought was kind of interesting and kind of a hot take, and they said, "Do you remember in D1 when they started doing all the crazy shit at the end of D1, and we didn't know why, and that's
Rise
because
of Iron.
Well, that and the end of D1 and going into D2." So after Final Shape, after all three of those chapters, we may see D3 because they're just letting us go. Because right now, I mean, they have hit us with so much crazy shit that we never thought we were ever going to get sunsetting taken away.
Yeah.
We thought that it was here to stay, and the community, the players, we were just like, all right, well, we have to accept it. Like we're going to keep certain roles because we think it's fun, but. Excuse me. They're just throwing everything in the kitchen sink, and it's just like, this is basically Bungie's last hurrah on. I'm predicting that this is Bungie's last hurrah on D2 to just let us go absolutely fucking ham before we see a new game or some crazy shift.
Like, I know that something big is going on because for the Final Shape showcase, Luke Smith re-emerged. Luke Smith hasn't been like in charge of Destiny since like I want to say like the beginning of D2.
Yeah.
Seeing him again was like, oh, what's going on here? Because he's been away from like the spotlight in Destiny for a while.
Yeah.
And him saying Final Shape's not the end of Destiny 2, and it's certainly not the end of Destiny. Like, I want to know what they're cooking now, because if they're giving us this much right now for Final Shape, it has to be either a Destiny 3 or a continuation in the universe.
Yeah, I mean, think about it, right? We're seeing different versions of Tormentors.
Yep, we're getting a whole new, like, enemy faction. For the first time since... Oh. Technically, I guess the Scorn.
Yeah, but nobody likes Scorn.
Yeah, they're like the Taken. They're just annoying.
Yeah, they're the Taken, except they have screeps.
And the Shaman. The Shaman, I think, are so
Oh,
annoying.
the ones that throw fire at you?
And they're like totems of different things that either pull you
yeah, the different elemental totems. Oh, and you mean the shields that for the longest time armor piercers couldn't go through?
Yep. And then the fact that they're always overloads.
They're always fucking goddamn overloads. Yeah, well, and the big thing that I want to see, because they have confirmed that the Final Shape raid is the Witness, and he has been the big bad that has been slowly creeping out since Beyond Light. And since Season of Arrivals, when the fucking pyramids first started showing up. It's been, what, 4 to 5 years since then?
It's been a bit.
Right? So, what happens when we kill him? Because the one thing that I want to see from D2 is more universe. I want to see more fucking planets. I want to see more fucking enemies. I want to see new fucking terrain. Like, there's so much D2 lore already. I want to see more. Give me
Yep.
more. That's the big thing I want. And I want, and this may be a very hot take, Danny, I want to see bigger maps.
Like, I think we are headed towards that with a new engine. I think it's honestly within reason that the next step for Destiny is an engine upgrade.
There's no way I mean, here's the thing. There's so much shit that they've done to the game. There's no way they can't afford not to fucking upgrade it. Like, they need to upgrade the engine. But the problem is that if you upgrade the engine, you have to completely redo everything. And at that point, just make a new fucking game.
Yep. Which is why I think, like, we're getting our fanfare in the episodes and final shape. That's gonna be our, like, big boost in power. They're gonna, like, tone down probably a little bit on the nerfing side.
Please, dear God. Except for
let it-
Jotun. We can all
Yeah.
agree you can nerf Jotun into the dirt. Fuck that gun.
Because I know we got a new host of exotic catalysts coming in Final Shape, and as well as some reworks.
Give me
Like-
Xenophage Catalyst, please!
I know, for instance, they're reworking Colony. They mentioned that directly. Colony
Thank
is one
God.
that is getting
Colony's
reworked.
fucking... Colony
So what it's-
sucks.
Yeah, and what it's gonna do, when you get a kill with the Colony grenade, it will split into more grenades.
Oh, it's just a Borderlands gun at that point.
Yeah, they're making it actually live up to its name of being the Colony.
I want to see it clear rooms.
Yeah, I want to see it actually do damage in PvE.
It's so
'Cause it
fucking
is
bad.
depressing.
It's a fucking. I feel like Colony Catalyst is more of a nerf than anything else.
Like, it used to be good in PvP, and then they nerfed, like, its damage in PvP.
Yeah.
PvE was never good, except for the one niche where it could kill things through immunity shields.
But wasn't that a fucking bug?
It was. You had to face hug them for it to do damage, but
Which, by the way, is funny because it's called Colony. The
Yep.
only way that it was viable was because of a bug. The irony is just there. That and, what's the gun that we always bitch about? The fact that when you put the catalyst on, it actually is just a legit DPS nerf? Cold Heart?
oh, Prospector.
Prospector. Yeah, Prospector's catalyst is fucking useless. Please, for the love of God,
By the
rework
way-
that bitch.
After they did the heavy GL changes, Prospector's not bad.
Oh, did they
It's-
actually
it
fix
got
it?
more ammo.
Oh, yeah,
and
there you go.
GLs do more damage.
Well,
it's
you'll have to tell me about
cool.
some number testing on it.
Yeah, it's not the best still, because there are still like legendary GLs that way outperform it. But that's just because they have insane perks. Like Edge Transit now is the best heavy GL. It's a weird world.
Yeah, what I was gonna say, even special GLs, like what's the GL that came in Season of Arrivals? The fucking Void one?
Oh, the first like wave frame to really like make waves.
Yeah, I'm trying to
Because
think
it
of its
had,
fucking. I'm trying to
had
think of the.
Unrelenting on it.
I'm trying to think of what the fuck the name is. Oh my god.
I can't remember what it was. Oh no, it was Truth Teller.
Thank you.
That one with blinding nades.
Yep. Because I
Which
remember.
got nerfed.
Yeah, I know. I saw that, and I'm very sad. But
It's still really effective.
it's still really good. But yeah.
However, those breach loading GLs got a big buff in PvE.
Yep. So we will see all of the crazy shit when Final Shape drops. And again, Danny, what date is Final Shape dropping?
Final shape is. I'm gonna double check this again. Because it is very early in June. I think it might be the 4th.
So it'll be very interesting to see.
It is the 4th.
Yep. So yeah, we will see how that goes. But I think we need to call it there before we go on any longer. So, Danny, where can they find you?
You can find me on YouTube and Twitch at CatboxDanny.
You can also find me at on Twitch and YouTube at DominiFox or on Twitter at DominiFox1. Thank you all so much for watching. We really appreciate it. We all hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day. And as always, don't be a sweat lord. We'll see you guys next time.